Welcome back to Vintage Story and my single player world. We may get a lot of interference from rifts because I seem to be in the middle of a lot of rift activity. I even have, I had one on the hillside which has just disappeared. There you are, you see, I say I'm in the middle of rift activity and you immediately think that I'm mistaken. Oh, no, I'm not. There's another one that's come in. I have rifts everywhere. So, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is that I have just upgraded to 1.16.3, which is the latest stable update. Now, what I have done is I've stopped using just the normal updater and I've gone for the full updater. There is a difference and it's in the music. When I use the partial update, that just is the easy way of doing it, I keep losing my music. And then somebody very kindly told me on Gameplay Help that if I use the full installer, that's what it's called, the full installer, I will keep the music. So from now on I am using the full installer so that I always get the music. In addition to that, I have decided that I'm going to add a couple of mods, or in fact I have added them. Now, why have I decided this? Well, I'm in the middle of building, and as I build I am moving everything around, and for example chests like this I don't want to have to keep emptying all the time. So the first mod I have added is created by a great friend of mine, Copygirl, and it's the carry capacity mod. And what it enables you to do is if you have two empty hands, and you can come forwards, that's it, let me just make sure everything is in it, shift, and then I can move this wherever I want. And when I move it, I can place it down and it moves all the contents intact. Now you can imagine how useful that is when you are in the middle of building and moving things around all the time. So if I want to move things, I can do it. Now, one of the other things about this is if you look at my backpack, can you see I have a basket on my back? It's like a sort of woven surround to the backpack. So how does this work? Well, if I look up and I press shift again and then on the ground, this basket, which is 8 slots, can now come with me wherever I go. If I just do that, and you can see it is back on my back. Just look at that, there we go. So it's back. So that gives me extra storage space. Now, I can take a whole chest on my back, but it slows me down. And with rock throwing drifters and other things, I don't want to slow down. If I really wanted to go out fully equipped, I could take one of these chests on my back and I could take one in front of me and sort of waddle around with one on my back and one in front of me. That gives me a huge amount of extra inventory if I'm out collecting, but it does make me slow. So I've decided to just go with the option of the backpack. So that's one of the mods. Now obviously what I've described to you is not the full carry capacity mod. I have a vintage story tutorial. I have a section called Vintage Story Mod Tutorials, and the first one is the person who wrote the mod, my friend Copygirl, explaining to me exactly how the mod works, everything you can move with it, everything you can't move with it. So I would recommend, if you want to use it, that you watch the full tutorial. Also, Copygirl is very, very good at keeping the mod up to date. So as the as the game updates, she updates the mod as well. And that's very important to understand with mods. If you have a lovely mod, but the person who wrote it doesn't keep it updated, it's practically useless. So that's one thing. And I'm going to add a link to my description of the full description of this mod, the tutorial. I'm going to add it in the description below. Right, that's number one. Now, number two is I am adding a mod that is called Workbench Extension. And I'm going to show you why down here. And my normal problem with ladders, which is getting down them. I will have a staircase. This absolutely beautiful workbench is part of the extended workbench mod, and the whole purpose of it is if you chisel blocks, it will copy those blocks. That is a fantastic advantage when you're chiseling blocks, particularly if you want to do repetition. If I want to chisel some steps, for example, as I'm thinking of doing for the main entrance to the house, I won't have to chisel every single block. I can chisel one set of steps and then replicate them in here. And that applies to furniture, almost anything you can think of that is chiseled, you can replicate using this extended workbench. Now, I have, again, 2 tutorials showing how to use the extended workbench, and it's very simple once you know the trick of it. And this beautiful, beautiful workbench only cost me 6 planks. This extended workbench was crafted by a modder called Ronen, R-H-O-N-E-N, and he also does a fabulous medieval expansion mod. Now, I'm building a modern house here, but what he has in the medieval expansion, which is what it does what it says in the label, it gives you huge, beautiful portcullises. It gives you drawbridges, and it gives you great big double height, sometimes triple height, vast doors that are like castle doors. So if you are building a castle, it is a mod I would not be without. And again, I'm putting links in the description. So those 2 mods, I believe, are going to help me a great deal as I continue to develop this modern build. Now, I'm looking for rifts because nothing ever stays still. The trees have grown and I need to go upwards again with this build. So I hope that you enjoy watching me play with these 2 mods, and I hope that as I play with them you get the feel of them if you haven't already used them, and I'm sure you'll get to love them as much as I do. Bye bye.